Just last week, I sat down with essential workers to learn what it's like to risk everything, ensuring people have sustenance during this pandemic. But this week, we're going to focus on other essential industries that have been severely impacted by coronavirus and the insurmountable threat it poses on all of humanity. These individuals run the risk of not only getting infected themselves through constant interaction with the general public, but also risk unknowingly passing it to their families and loved ones. My name's Anthony Padilla, and today I'm going to be remotely sitting down with essential airline, delivery, and funeral workers to learn what it's like to risk everything working in public during this pandemic. Do essential workers feel safe and appropriately compensated for their efforts in ensuring people and society as a whole are able to continue functioning? Or are they left feeling suffocated by the anxiety associated with every moment on the clock? Hello, Noah.
Hi.
Leo.
Hey, how's it going?
Megan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming out and teaching me about the wondrous world of essential workers.
Anytime. It's literally what I do.
So what do you consider yourself? An essential worker, an unsung hero?
Definitely an essential worker.
I do consider myself an essential worker. Every other day, I'm just a driver.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, I am a critical infrastructure person.
Whoa, that's like beyond essential.
I know, I couldn't even pronounce it correctly, but I'm an essential worker.
What specific line of work do you do?
I myself am a flight attendant.
I'm an Amazon delivery driver.
I work 2 jobs at a funeral home in Las Vegas. One of them is an office job, and another is I'm on call a couple days a week to do body removals.
Body removals, and what specifically does that mean?
It means that I could get a phone call at any point and I have to report to any house in the Las Vegas Valley and carefully and gracefully remove someone's deceased loved one from the house and transport them carefully to our care center.
Wow, so you could spend that night just hanging out at home, or you could be directly dealing with someone's loved one who is deceased.
Absolutely.
What thoughts first went through your head when you found out there was a mandatory quarantine that was being enforced?
Oh.
Yeah.
Especially in this business, I've worked at a lot of customer service places before, and human contact is avoidable in that case, but with mine, there's no avoiding that, especially since I knew that my business, being that in the death management, this virus is known for, unfortunately, taking a lot of lives, and my business deals directly with that.
Did any part of you fear that you would lose your job?
Definitely. Just before actually hopping on this meeting with you, I checked my company emails, and we actually did get clarification stating that come September to November, a lot of us will be out of a job.
Are you confident that you're going to lose your job, or are you holding on to a little hope that maybe things will be okay by then?
The reality of the matter is most U.S. airlines are bleeding about $50 million a day.
A day?
A day.
That must be terrifying right now.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially with everything going on. The last thing you want to lose is your job security.
What extra safety precautions have you had to adopt since this whole pandemic started?
When I get to the yard, which is where all the vans are, they hand me the bag, I spray it before grabbing it. I grab the bag, and then I go to my van, I spray all the door handles, go inside, open the van, and then spray everything in there too. When I pick up the packages, I spray all the packages down.
That little spray bottle in your hand potentially could be the reason that you stay healthy. It could save your life.
Just doing that extra step every single day, I'm helping people avoid getting contaminated.
When somebody passes away in a hospital or anywhere, we get a letter from the nurse saying this is information about this person and what they died of. If there's anything even relating to the lungs, it gets put on COVID-19 watch. Even if they did not test, they have nothing else, we have to take those precautions.
Right, so you could be dealing with people who have died of health complications relating to COVID-19 every day that you show up to work.
It's wearing gowns and the whole suit, every single thing that possibly could have come in contact with that body had to be bleached 50 times over, including the transport van itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
In terms of protection, we have gloves, we have masks. We don't have the correct amount of masks as supplies are slim and scattered out, but we just don't have everything we need. But again, the option to have it and use it if you do actually have it on your aircraft, it has been voluntary. There is no mandatory, you need to be wearing a mask, you need to be wearing gloves. It's your choice.
Do you feel that essential workers have the rights and the protection needed to feel safe going into work?
I took a Japanese airline back home, and they had, face masks, face shields, goggles, like you name it. The only thing they didn't have was a full-blown hazmat suit that CDC recommends.
And then you go to work at your airline, and then what are you feeling seeing the way that it's being handled there?
My airline, and I know quite a few other airlines, they just started telling flight attendants that you can wear the mask now if you'd like. Because before, we were only allowed to wear gloves. So all we have right now in terms of protection is gloves and masks. There's nothing else.
Do you feel fear when going to work during this pandemic?
I'm scared every time I go on call. What if I go into a home with someone that was in contact with someone that was in contact? And it's terrifying. I'm putting my family at risk because of it.
It's really concerning because, we're going to work and we're still hearing about our coworkers that have passed away. And we've lost quite a few people already to this virus. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Excuse me. When you hear that you have coworkers that are passing away from this and constant positive updates from friends who are telling you, I just got a positive test back. And they've been positive for a while now. They're going on weeks being positive. Some of them are doing okay. Some of them are doing not so well. But there's a lot of fear attached with going to work right now, especially in aviation.
Right. Yeah, and it's not just a statistic that you're seeing. It's not just a number that you're hearing about. Like that's the extent that many people are experiencing the actual severity of this outbreak. But your friends are being affected. Your coworkers, who you have become close friends with, are being affected as well.
Yeah, and that's the reality of things.
Do you think your job should be considered essential?
Yes.
I almost didn't even need to ask you that question.
So specifically, I work in the office of a direct crematory, and especially with the pandemic, that's seen a lot of increase. With the whole 10-person count, you can't exactly have a funeral with 8 people there. So direct cremation has gotten a lot more popular. That's seen a huge increase. And I know that my job, it's a discounted way. People can't financially plan for someone to die. My specific job, again, I'm so fortunate that it is so incredibly essential.
Yes, if I'm not delivering to people what they need, because right now you can only deliver essentials, those same people are gonna leave their house and expose themselves or expose others to something. The more people we have indoors and the less people that are outside, getting in each other's area within too close to each other and spreading this, the better. So yeah, I consider myself essential to keep things running and avoid even more people suffering.
And at first I thought we shouldn't. I said, they can still have pilots and they can fly the plane around and take cargo. But the reality of the matter is flight attendants do, a lot more than just, stand there, smile, serve you a drink. We're there for safety.
Right, yeah, you're basically a first responder if someone gets sick or shows symptoms or has any kind of problem on the flight, right?
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people fail to realize that flight attendants are first responders. We are trained. We are trained in the event of an emergency, whether it be something with the plane or with you. We are the first to respond and make sure that we can potentially save your life.
Before we learn more about the wondrous world of essential workers, I just want to take a quick moment to say that just like last week's video, 100% of profits from this video will be donated to Feeding America. Donations made to Feeding America go toward their efforts in building an inventory of emergency food boxes to distribute to food banks across the country and safely continuing their distribution of essential household items like cleaning supplies, diapers, and personal care products. I'll include a link to Feeding America's website in the description below for more information. And to everyone staying home, practicing social distancing, and taking this quarantine seriously, thank you so much for doing your part and ensuring we make it through this as painlessly as possible for your health and for everyone around you. That's all I wanted to say. Now back to learning about the wondrous world of essential workers. Do you feel like you're being appropriately recognized and compensated for your essential work?
It took them a while to put any sort of measures for us to stay safe and for any sort of compensation to come out of it. I just recently got an extra $2 on my paycheck per hour, but that was as a bonus after the fact of, I don't know if you've seen it, but someone for Amazon actually protested and executed a really big protest. And when I saw that, I knew, I was like, that's the turning point. And almost within a week, they decided, okay, now we're gonna be more safe. We're gonna give you guys hazard pay.
I think a lot of people choose not to think about the funeral industry. You know, whether it's they lost someone and it's just such a touchy moment, or people just, they don't want to think about death, but we're still here. Whether or not people choose not to think about it, we're still here, you know, working late hours. I easily work 50 hours in a row, 60 hours. And we're still here dealing with the virus firsthand.
What are your thoughts on the proposed Heroes Fund, equating to about $25,000 in bonus salary?
I have mixed feelings about that. I feel like it is good to recognize those that are literally putting their lives on the line for those, because they didn't ask for this pandemic. They didn't ask for such increasingly scary circumstances at work. But also the other half is, I knew what I was getting into in this business. I knew when I asked to go on these body removals that I would be seeing that every day. I know nurses and doctors, they take that oath to protect the public. So there's a fine line between, you know, you asked to be in this business and you did not ask for this pandemic.
Is there anything else you wish the government would do to help essential workers like yourself?
Yeah, definitely. If airlines can't do it, I ask that the government do it in terms of providing us at the airlines with more PPE, which is the personal protective equipment. You know, whatever the CDC is recommending or the WHO, those should be items that we are provided on the plane. If they recommend it, why don't we have it?
You would prefer to just wear a full hazmat suit if you could, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I feel like this business is so forgotten about. Asking something from the government with aiding us is something like, I don't know, kind of talking to a wall and asking it for help.
Right, I mean, yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
You can't ask for help if you're not being seen or heard.
How do you feel knowing that people are just starting to realize that your job is essential when in reality, it was probably always essential?
I'm glad the recognition is coming now more so than it was before, because the biggest opinion that the public had was they wanted the airlines to shut down. That was all over, you know, the media, all over Facebook. They just wanted the airlines to shut down. And the fact of the matter is, we can't. We can kind of cut back service, but in the grand scheme of things, we transport medical personnel, doctors, nurses, we transport medical equipment. Those ventilators, you know, I know many airlines that have actually chartered flights to China to take ventilators from China that they are being given to take them to New York. Things of that nature, where we do much more than just transport somebody to a vacation destination.
How do you feel about some of the more cynical people stating that we shouldn't be sympathetic for essential workers because they signed up for the job, they knew what they were getting themselves into, and they don't have to go into work if they really don't want to, if they're too afraid?
This was not in the job description. It did not say that you would have to come to work during a pandemic. You would still be forced to work without proper protective gear, proper protective equipment, and be required to do more than your job actually entailed before.
That person is stupid, whoever they are. I'm sorry. I mean, if everybody decided, you know, forget this, I didn't sign up for this, the world would stop running. All I want is just kind of kudos of like, thank you. And because we don't receive that in the funeral industry too much.
I'm just giving a little round of applause for the essential workers out there, all the essential workers. Does any part of you fear that talking about all this stuff and mentioning the company that you work for and putting your face and your name out there in front of the world could have any consequences from your employer?
Yeah, hence why I have the the mask, the cap, the hoodie, the, you know, everything.
Yeah, you're trying to protect your identity. You you specifically requested a way for us to help ensure that you could remain anonymous.
The essential worker episode was something great to highlight, and I really wanted to be able to be a part of it.
I actually got a lot of comments from people saying, I would love to talk about these experiences that I'm having, because while some are good, there are many bad as well, and I fear for my job security, and I can't afford to lose my job.
Right, and that's the reality of things.
This is a way for me to kind of get everyone who's been feeling like I have and getting them to feel like, hey, this guy freaking gets it, like, you know, like I'm not crazy. Then yeah, I'll voice my opinions. I'll take it. I'll take one for the team, man. I'll take one for the team.
A true hero. Kara wants to know if the public has changed the way that they treat you since all of this has gone down.
Yes, they have treated me differently, but it also depends on who it is. This guy had his kids out there and a bunch of other kids, and they're all playing basketball. And I come out of my van, you know, because I have a Prime van, I'm in my uniform, I've got my mask on, the full kit, you know, the full gear.
Yeah.
And I go to deliver a package, and as I walk, the second I step outside, all these kids start sneezing, coughing, and one of them is kind of laughing, and they're all just like, achoo, like making all these noises. And the next thing I look over to my right, there's a freaking adult standing there, looking me right in the eye, smiling, dude. This happened after my aunt passed away. So it took everything in my power not to take it out on them.
I can understand why you're so heated. They were making a joke about coronavirus.
Yeah.
And you just lost someone to being infected.
It was the fact that the adult was perfectly okay and smiling back at me, thinking it's all a big joke.
Diana Dadu wants to know if your job has become more stressful since the beginning of this pandemic and if it's taken any kind of toll on your mental health.
You know, I have become so uncomfortable at work that I had to opt for a leave of absence. I fear for my coworkers and my safety when I'm on board that plane. I don't know if potentially doing one thing on that plane might cause me to become infected or bring it home and spread it to someone else in my family. And I have high-risk members in my household. I would not be able to live with myself if somebody caught that in my house and died because of it.
Iva Arts wants to know if there's anything else we can do to help essential workers aside from just staying at home.
Be nice to people that are essential workers, and that's whether you work in fast food, whether you work, you know, at a hospital. Be nice because they're quite literally risking their lives so that things have a little level of normalcy.
It's not that hard. Try it someday.
Don't be an It's not too much to ask, really.
Stay away from us. As a driver, be respectful of our distance. Know that if you put us at risk, that puts other people, a lot more people at risk, because we're directly going to your neighbors.
What would you say to anyone who is not taking this quarantine seriously?
As someone who stares death in the face every single day, stay the home and take this seriously, because those numbers are rising. Every single day, people are dying that should not be dying.
Damn, well said. Well said. What's been the most heartwarming thing you've experienced while working during this pandemic?
A group of little kids, and they're outside just playing, and I go and deliver a package, and they run up to me, and I tell them, no, wait, don't come up to me. And then they turn around again, and they're like, thank you, I love you, and then they run away.
You're like Santa Claus to these kids. You're bringing their gifts.
I didn't even think about that. That's basically am. Yeah, Santa Claus.
What's been the most bizarre experience that you've had while working during this outbreak?
You would be surprised with the fit people are putting up over having to get their temperature taken. You would think everyone would be okay. For the most part, people walking through are fine, but most people are concerned, am I gonna make my connection? Am I gonna be okay?
They're worried about making their connection, meanwhile they may have a temperature that kind of shows that they are infected.
People are throwing fits, like, we shouldn't have to go through this. I have global entry, so I'm allowed it, but there may, like the stuff
I have
people
TSA
say.
pre-check. Do you not understand? That means I'm healthy.
Right. You not get what's going on right now? I mean, you think people would be more understanding, but it's strange.
I had a woman ask us because she's like, well, we want to split up the ashes for the family, want to split up the remains. And they're like, well, they're pretty old and I don't want them to catch it from the ashes. Can you put beach sand in an urn and I'll give it to the grandma? And that's illegal. We said no, that is super illegal.
Yeah. What's the first thing that you're going to do the moment that this is no longer considered a pandemic, the quarantine is lifted, and you feel 100% safe leaving your house again?
I just want to go see a hockey game again.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of Las Vegas, and I feel like people have really lost part of their like spark and happiness because that team has stopped.
I'm going to the beach, man. I gotta go to the beach. I gotta hit the beach. I live in the desert. There ain't out here. I gotta hit some water.
No, but yeah, the first thing we'll do is to see my grandma, give her a hug and a kiss. You know, I miss her. I'm like, you know, it kills me that, you know, she's trapped in that house and we can't, you know, go and see her. So that's going to be my first thing, because I know she would really appreciate it, and I know I am going to be really thankful.
What do you think the biggest misconception about essential workers is?
You know, a lot of people think that we have a choice whether we want to go to work or not. If we don't want to go to work, we can just choose to stay home. The fact of the matter is, this may be the only source of income. Not everyone qualifies for unemployment, depending on what state you're in. So it really comes down to not even a personal choice, just more so, you know, what circumstances you're dealt with in life. And if you need to work during this crisis, you need to work during this crisis. If you're able to stay home, you're able to stay home. For some people, that it's just not feasible, you know?
I actually have a parting gift for you, the best interviewer shirt, which you could get at padildoshop.com. But for you, I will ship this to you for free. Here, I'm gonna throw this on you here.
I appreciate it. I've always wanted one of those shirts.
It looks beautiful on you. Wow.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your eyes are popping right now. Yeah, not gonna lie, like you just went from a 10 to an 11.
Ooh, you hit my heart, man. Hit my heart, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you got 5 seconds to shout out or promote anything you want directly to camera. Go.
Follow me on YouTube at Tresleo, and follow the Supersonic Turtles on YouTube as well for a sweet gaming community.
To all the morticians and funeral directors that deal with death every single day, thank you for showing up for the living.
I'd like to shout out all of aviation's first responders, flight attendants, a special thank you to everyone who's still working, and of course our first responders on the ground. Thank you so much for working through this crisis and making sure we get the attention and care that we need.
So dealing with people that are literally cold-hearted and stiff and not happy in the slightest, Anthony is not one of those people. You should subscribe to him.
Aw, you said I had a heart that wasn't cold.
I know. And you're not
Thank you. Tell that to my 7th grade girlfriend. She would not believe you. Thank you so much, Megan. I feel like I understand the wondrous world of essential workers working during the pandemic a little bit more.
Thank you. I'm glad I could do that for you.
After spending the day with these essential airline delivery and funeral workers, I've learned just how much they put their safety on the line in order to ensure society continues to function. We should definitely recognize and show these workers the utmost respect for stepping up to a challenge not many would feel comfortable taking on themselves. Please, for the safety of yourself and everyone around you, practice social distancing and stay home during this pandemic unless absolutely necessary. See you later, bye guys.
Press a like, but make sure to spray it first.
This is no offense to you.
Yeah.
To you. I do not think my employers would see this. I think if I saw... I mean...
I am so offended. Your employers aren't fans?
I know. It's so sad. I think if I said Padilla, they'd think there's like a Y in it or something. But...
oh, they're those types of people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
Looking
like...
at all you people out there that spell tortilla with a Y. I do not stand.